Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am very happy to be sitting down to film. I have not uploaded in 2 weeks and I've had just some things going on. Obviously, a lot of you know that I got a puppy, but there's some things that have been happening behind the scenes that I haven't spoke about. So today I want to explain a little bit of why I haven't been uploading as much beyond just having the puppy. And then I want to try some new makeup. I have the new Hourglass primer, the new Say powder. I also have the KVD concealer. I have the new Shantakai giraffe collection I picked up, iconic London duos. Like I just have a bunch of stuff, and I also have more stuff on the way from Sephora. This will be the first time that I've really gotten like full-blown ready in a while. I am kind of in mommy mode with the puppy, typically just hair thrown up, no makeup. So I'm excited to actually do like full glam here. So if you're new here, I hope you subscribe. If you enjoyed these first impression videos, please give this video a thumbs up. Also just wanted to say thank you for sticking with me and just understanding that my upload schedule has not been like it normally is. I've been getting all the tags on Instagram on all the new products, and trust me, I'm buying them and I'm getting ready to review them. And then I've been getting the messages and comments like, where are you? I haven't done the best job at explaining where I've been. So that's what we're gonna do today. I will link all the products that I talk about today down below in my description box. I'm gonna stop rambling and let's go ahead and jump into it. So I've got you zoomed in and we're gonna go ahead and do an eye look. I want to use this new Shantakai giraffe quad that I picked up. This is my first eyeshadow quad from Shantakai, and the colors really spoke to me. I'm really into neutrals lately. Pretty much 99% of the time I'm gonna be wearing colors like this. So here's the outer packaging. Of course, this is very pricey, but I wanted to try it out. For some reason, it spoke to me. Now I will say that the actual colors in here are very small, like what is it called? Pan size, which kind of surprised me. But I mean, for Shantakai, you're paying for the brand name, and I want to swatch these and see how they kind of apply. I'm really not familiar with the Shantakai formula, but these almost look like glitters maybe. So here are the swatches. You have a matte. This one looks like it's a satin. It's not like shimmery, but it's definitely not matte. And then you have these two. This one's a little bit more crumbly, and this one is more of like a glittery metallic. So this is what the colors look like swatched. So I thought this would be a beautiful sort of like neutral cool tone palette, and great for every day because really these are the colors I'm reaching for. So I'm gonna start off with the matte shade in here. Now these are very powdery, or this matte shade in particular is, so just keep that in mind. It doesn't really bother me, but it can be a little bit messy. So I wanna see how this blends on the eye. So I'm just gonna run this through my crease. So I went ahead and switched brushes. I do feel like I'm having a hard time blending this line out, which is sort of interesting. This color is translating a little bit more cool on the eye, but I don't feel like it's the easiest to blend. I just feel like it looks like I have a line there and I can't seem to really soften that. So because I felt like this was blending weird, I feel like I went up way too high. Sometimes when that happens, I just go in with a powder. This is the Fenty Beauty powder, and I'm just gonna use a different brush. I'm gonna try to soften this. I don't know, that first shade I felt like was kind of difficult to work with. I'm just gonna take a brush. Yeah, this is gonna help, with a lighter powder on it, and I'm just gonna try to kind of go over that. I really don't know how else to remedy that. I could have just blended it up too high. Okay, so let's move into what's been going on. So we got our puppy, as you guys know. His name is Roscoe. All of you guys were super excited, as was I. It was a huge journey for me to decide on Roscoe. I've been wanting another bulldog, honestly. I mean, I've been wanting another bulldog even when I had 2 bulldogs. But then when I lost Curtis, I really wanted another one. And then when I lost Papa, it just was like excruciating. Like I was crying every single night. I would see videos of bulldogs and like literally cry myself to sleep. My house was just so empty. It was just really hard. And I did notice that getting Winnie really, really helped me with coping with the loss of Nala, which was my Pom. Just losing both of my bulldogs was just so painful for me. And I just was struggling so bad, and I just wanted one so bad, but I was second guessing like everything, worrying about everything. So I've been looking for a bulldog for like ever. We applied at a rescue and we actually got chosen. We were talking to the foster about, you know, just like how to transition him into the house and all these things. And she told me that her mom came over, this is the foster, and she had a little poodle and the bulldog was very reactive in an aggressive manner towards her mom's small dog. And so that concerned me. It was like a new behavior that they hadn't seen because there hadn't been small dogs around. And because I had Winnie, who was also reactive, all my anxiety just went crazy. And I was like, no, we can't do it. Like, I can't do it. I can't do, you know, a big dog being reactive to Winnie. And so I just, you know, freaked out and it just wasn't the right fit. And then we did actually apply for another male bulldog through the same rescue. Months later, one of the volunteers at the rescue that actually like fosters was chosen. A lot of people kind of applied for him, and I understood that. Like, this person or this family works with the rescue, so obviously they're going to be chosen before, you know, somebody that doesn't. So I totally understood that. So I was just checking every day, and I just could not figure out what I wanted to do. I really was like, puppy, no, adult, oh, I'm scared. I was afraid of an adult having aggression issues because Winnie does have some aggression issues, which I really haven't talked about. I know she looks very cute, but she's reactive and she has bitten a couple times. So we have to have like strong boundaries with people. Like, nobody's allowed to pick her up. She just is reactive, like around food. She just doesn't like when people get in her space. I love Winnie so much, but I do worry about it just because, you know, it's not fun to worry about, like, is your dog gonna bite the groomer? Is your dog gonna bite someone? And Winnie can be pretty unpredictable in that way. I feel like we've gotten better because we've had a trainer come multiple times to our house and kind of work on her reactivity and then kind of explain to me like what's going on with that. So that was my big fear with an adult. I don't want a big dog that's aggressive. You know, all my other dogs I raised from puppies and they were sweet and never had aggression. So just looking at breeders honestly was just like draining me. I was crying all the time. Where I live in Ohio, it's a lot of like puppy mills and I just can't. I can't. Like, it just upsets me and I'm not willing to do that. So for me, it was very important to find a breeder that I felt was showing me, you know, where the dogs live, the adult dogs, health testing, you know, making sure that these dogs were not like in a kennel, just basically pumping out dogs, like vet records, you know, all these things. I had been in touch with multiple breeders and then I sort of got like a bad feeling and I was like, no, I can't do it. Like, something's weird, like just not showing me where the dogs live or multiple photos and videos of the mama dog. It just felt like very much like, hey, give me this money and we'll give you the dog. And I was like, no, I don't like that. So I was just having a hard time, crying all the time. I just felt so overwhelmed. Like, I just wanted to find a loving, you know, healthy bulldog from somebody who actually cares, that wasn't just in it to make money. And I was like obsessively looking for dogs because I was just so heartbroken. I just wanted a dog so badly. I was just crying every night. And I saw a picture of Roscoe and he was the last in the litter of 5. He was at a breeder that was, I want to say 4 hours away. So we could actually like go and pick him up because I don't know. Another thing is like there's something called a puppy nanny where they like fly your puppy in, and it's just, the industry in my opinion has just changed so much. Like, gone are the days, at least in my opinion, from my experience, where you just like go to the breeder's house. You know, it's like now you have people stealing dogs at gunpoint. It's just so sad. Like, it's just become like literally like pumping out puppies for money. Like, I was like, you know, we can actually drive to meet, you know, this breeder, to meet the mama dog, to pick him up. And the breeder was very, very, you know, open about everything. She was very transparent, sent me health records, vet records, health testing, tons of photos and videos, where the dog stayed, how many times they've been bred, like all these things, how many dogs she owned. You know, they weren't kept outside at all. They all were inside the home. She had great reviews. So I just really felt comfortable. And we decided that we were going to put a deposit down on Roscoe. She sent me a contract, you know, a health guarantee, like all these things that you know, you should have with a breeder. I feel like I cannot get this to look right, and I just really don't know how to salvage it other than just to let it go. Okay, I'm gonna go into the satin shade next just to try to deepen this up a little bit on the corners. So we drove to pick Roscoe up. We actually met the breeder and her husband. Her husband is a firefighter. Actually have people come get the puppies at the fire station. And when we walked in, all the firefighters were there holding all the puppies, and they had the mama there too, which I loved. I was loving on the mama dog, and she was just so happy. And her little puppies were, they had them in a wagon because, you know, parvo, you got to be careful with that. So, you know, the breeder had this like bag ready for us with like all the vet records, like a bulldog care kit. If you have a bulldog, you know, but just all the things you need for a bulldog. She was like answering any questions. It was just like a really good experience. In the contract, you have to take him to get a vet check within 48 hours, which I would have done anyways. So I take him to the vet. We picked him up on Saturday, and I had a vet appointment on Monday morning. Okay, I'm gonna go in now to this shimmery shade. Let's see how this applies. This one looks really pretty. Oh yeah, that is gorgeous. Hopefully I can use this to cover up a little bit of my blending mistakes. That is really, really pretty. Like super, super pretty. It's like a glitter metallic hybrid. There is some fallout, but I don't think it's like too insane. But before I go on with my story, I do want to do my liner. I did pick up the Hindash liner. I love the packaging on this. It's very heavy, and it is a brush tip, and I found it pretty easy to work with, comparable to like the KVD tattoo liner. So I'm going to go ahead and do a wing real quick. All right, so my wings are on. I'm gonna use this brand new ColourPop mascara. This is called the Level Up Lengthening Mascara. It has a really skinny tube, and the wand sort of looks like a Christmas tree, like a skinny little Christmas tree. So I thought we would just try this. I curled my lashes, although I feel like they don't even look like I did. I'm gonna curl them again here. Okay, so I'm gonna continue on with my story. So in my contract, we had to take the puppy to the vet within 48 hours. So I take him in, you know, bring all the records in, and I'm just like talking to the vet tech about how cute he is, and, you know, everybody's loving him. And the vet kind of had a concerned look on his face. I'm like, is everything okay? Like, you know, everything looking good. Keep in mind, I have vet records from the breeder that he was checked out on, or at 2 weeks old and 6 weeks old. He's 8 weeks when I take him to the vet. The vet, who has seen my other dogs and treated them for, you know, a long time, said everything looks perfect except for one thing, and my heart sank and my stomach dropped. Essentially, he tells me that he hears a heart murmur, which is not good news, not something that you want to hear. Of course, I start crying and I'm panicking. You know, I'm that worried person just because of the loss of my other dogs. I'm just very sensitive to it. And, you know, here I am thinking we're having like a fresh start, and now there's like something possibly not healthy with my new baby. I mean, this is 2 days after I got him. So I'm like freaking out. So I ask him to check again. He checks again and confirms it. And then he also had 2 other vets in the clinic check. Oh, Jesus Christ. I just got that up there. We'll fix that. Had them check as well. They confirmed the same thing. He's telling me that puppies often do get heart murmurs and they can grow out of them. He's trying to explain it to me, and he said it's a little more concerning because it's a bulldog. Of course, English bulldogs have health issues as it is. So, you know, I'm just like freaking out, crying. So I'm like, what can I do? You know, why wasn't this shown at his 6-week checkup at their vet? And he said it could have developed in those 2 weeks, or they could have just been overwhelmed, you know, looking at 5 different puppies at once and missed it, you know, all these possibilities. Typically they grow out of it at 4 months to 6 months. So I'm like, I'm not waiting. I want to know what's going on, just to ease my mind. So I asked my vet, you know, what can I do? What are all the possibilities? And of course the possibilities could be he grows out of it, it's nothing, or it could be a congenital heart defect, which is, you know, not great. Could be mild, could be moderate, could be severe, could need surgery, could shorten his life, could be completely fine. He might need medicine. Like there's so many different scenarios. So he suggests that I go to a specialist, a cardiologist, to get an echocardiogram, which I'm familiar with the specialist just because of my other dogs. So I immediately call and make an appointment, and I had to wait, I think like 10 days to get in. They're very busy. All vets here, I don't know about you guys, but all vets here are so just understaffed. It's like crazy, and they're so busy. So of course I call the breeder and I tell her, you know, what's going on. She's in shock. She said she's never had this in 10 years. She's had one puppy have like a stage 1 heart murmur that they grew out of, which is just like a puppy. It's called an innocent murmur. So she was surprised because Roscoe's, they said, was a stage 3, and there's 6 stages. So 3 kind of was like teetering on probably going to be an issue. But again, you wouldn't know until he either grows out of it or you get an echocardiogram, which is an ultrasound of the heart. And I'm just devastated because, you know, I'm not sending the puppy back. Like that's an option to return the puppy and get your money back or get another puppy. But it's like, no, like this is my puppy. Like we, you know, drove to get him. He's been with us for 2 days, which doesn't sound like a long time, but we're attached to him. Like everybody in my family was loving him. I love him. Like that's just not an option. So it just felt like a kick in the gut. Like it was just like, okay, finally tried to make a really, I guess, educated decision, and, you know, to hear that there could be something wrong. It was just like a never ending, like, why? You know what I mean? Like we ended up going to the appointment. We weren't allowed to go in because of COVID. So they basically took him up and did the echocardiogram and then called us. And they confirmed that he does have a congenital heart defect, which is not what I wanted to hear. The good news is it's on the low end of moderate. So there's like mild, moderate, severe. He's like lowest end of moderate, and the cardiologist did seem pretty optimistic. Like when we were talking to him, of course, I'm crying and like having a meltdown in the car when he's like confirming that it's a congenital defect. And, you know, just hearing the breeder like, oh, you know, I've never had that in 10 years. It just felt like, why now? You know, like why now? Why me? And I know you can always say like, it could always be worse, but it just felt really just devastating to me. I just pulled up the report. It's a lot of medical terms, but it is moderate valvular, I can't say that right, pulmonic stenosis. It's a heart defect that causes thickened pulmonic valve leaflets that do not open as well as they should, makes it harder for the right heart to pump blood to the lungs. So our options are to get him rechecked in about 4 or 5 months. That's what they want to do another ultrasound of the heart. He wants to see kind of how he matures. So right now he is 13 weeks old. He really wants to see him about 6, 7 months old, see how he's grown and see if the heart looks the same. If it looks the same, prognosis is pretty good. He says he should live a quite normal life, but he will likely need medication, which is a beta blocker. I don't know enough about it, to be honest. It just all kind of hit me when we had him, you know, at the cardiologist. So I'm trying to like educate myself on it. Most likely will need to be on a medication his entire life. For me, that would be like best case scenario. And the second option, which is the one that really worries me just because I'm a worrier, is he may need surgery. Surgery is very expensive, which, you know, I'm not thrilled about. It's like $5 grand, $6 grand. I knew bulldogs were expensive, and again, I'm no stranger to vet bills, so it's not something I'm like happy about, but I can handle that. I'm more worried about like the risks. So essentially they put like a balloon down in the heart to help the heart out. It has a 98% success rate, but it has a 2% complication rate, and when there's a complication, it's fatal. So that, you know, immediately freaked me out because I'm like, what? Like that scared me. I'm terrified of loss. I'm terrified of loss. That's my biggest fear. So we don't know if he will even need that surgery, if they will recommend it, but we will know when he goes back in about 4 months for a recheck. We'll know if his heart defect has gotten worse or the same. If it's the same, I'm really hopeful, just from the way the cardiologist was talking, that we could just do medication. and just kind of keep an eye on him. He doesn't have any signs, like there's no fainting or coughing or breathing heavy. I think that's why I was so shocked, because he breathes quite quietly actually. That definitely messed me up. I mean, you know, getting the new puppy was so exciting, and then I got like hit by a ton of bricks 2 days later, and then the anxiety waiting for the appointment and then getting the diagnosis. Again, I was hit by, you know, a ton of bricks again. And I really feel like now I'm handling it okay, because I'm trying to just be like, you know what, it is what it is. I'm not sending him back. He's my baby. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to keep him healthy. And I need to like get my anxiety under control. Like, what is the point of worrying about, you know, the 2% fatal complication of the surgery when I don't even know if he needs the surgery yet? So it's one of those things. So I let the breeder know. We had conversations. She did what she could to, you know, make it right. But it's just one of those unfortunate situations where, you know, something happened with the 2 dogs that were bred, and she said she will never breed those 2 dogs, you know, again. And yeah, it's just an unfortunate situation. Things could be so much worse. But yeah, that is something that happened that has really, you know, weighed on me, and I didn't talk about it. I don't know. I just didn't know if I even wanted to talk about it, because it just felt like everybody was so excited about Roscoe, and then I didn't want to rain on that parade. But so yeah, that's what's been going on with the pup. He's adorable. I love him. We're keeping him. We're not giving him away, and we're just going to do literally everything we can. I spoke to my vet, the one that heard the heart murmur first, and he actually had the same experience. He had a bulldog puppy. I'm assuming this was way back when, before he was a vet, that had a heart murmur, and he took him to the cardiologist, and it was the same, essentially the same diagnosis. Dog ended up having the balloon surgery and lived literally like 10 years and died of cancer, which 10 years is, you know, how long my other boys lived. Bulldogs don't live very long. So basically he lived a normal life. So that gave me some just hope that, you know, it's not a death sentence, and I don't always have to like freak out and think about the worst. Like, it seems pretty, you know, manageable exactly what he has. So I'm choosing to not focus on it. I'm sure before we go to get him, you know, the other echocardiogram, I'm sure I'll be a mess. But until then, what is the point, you know? So I just was kind of like, well, I was worried. I was worried about telling all of you guys, even my family. You know, I called my dad, and he's like, how's the little man? You know, it's like 2 days after we got him, and my dad was so excited, and I had to, like, I was crying, and he's like, oh my God, what's going on? And I had to explain to him, oh my God, like my whole family was just in shock, just because they knew what I went through to find him. My entire family said the same thing. Like, you're just gonna take care of him, and it'll be all right. You know what I mean? So it was just kind of a tough situation, and I was just feeling bad. Like, I didn't want to tell you guys and disappoint you guys too. Like, look how exciting. And then it's like, want, like something's wrong again. Like, Babs has another problem with her dogs again. Like, it just feels like it's constant. Kind of felt like I was always a sob story, and I just didn't know if I wanted to share about Roscoe. I'm going to use a little bit of this D'Alba serum spray. I'm just going to use it on my forehead. I really like this just for like where I'm really dry, which is my forehead. I just felt kind of embarrassed. I don't know, just like another dog issue with Babs. Like, I just felt like, ugh, you know, I don't know, it would happen to me, but I'm choosing to think that I was chosen because I will take care of him, and I wouldn't send him back, and he will get the best care. And so, you know, everything happens for a reason, and we're just going to keep it moving and love him. He was 12.5 pounds at the cardiologist appointment on January 21st, and today is February 12th, and he's 18 pounds. He is growing like a weed. He's eating a ton, and he's like definitely food motivated now. So next I want to go in with this Airbrush Vanish primer from Hourglass. I really didn't know if I was going to pick this up, and I'd heard quite a few people really like it, and so I finally took the plunge. This is very expensive, but I'm trying to look it up to see what the claims are. I know it's supposed to be like pore smoothing, which is my main thing. This is described as a skin perfecting primer that smooths, absorbs shine, and adds a visibly blurred airbrushed finish. So this is what it looks like. It looks like a moisturizer sort of gel hybrid. Packaging's really beautiful. I just got that on my nose. Not much of a scent, maybe a light sort of like skincare scent. Feels like just like a thin cooling gel. I have some scars from breaking out. What's new? I turned 30 and my acne said hello. I never struggled with acne until I was 30. I feel like I literally used to sleep in my makeup and not get acne. And now I actually like do skincare and my face is like, we don't care. We're gonna, you know, wreak havoc regardless. Okay, it feels really nice and like it almost feels like a soft matte, but it's hydrating. It's not overly like heavy or anything, but it feels really soft. I kind of like that. We'll see how it does with the pores. I'm actually going to go in with the NARS foundation. I'm still testing this out. This is the NARS, what is this called? Light Reflecting Foundation. I did a first impression on this, but I'm just still kind of testing it. I like it, but it does get very oily on me in my T-zone. So I've been using the e.l.f. oil control lotion with it, which helps a little bit. Just gets pretty oily on my chin area. I do have a hard time with the shades because I have here Stromboli, which is really like olive yellow. And then I have Patagonia. So I think I'm gonna mix, I don't know, these both look pretty dark. I also have Santa Fe, which is lighter. I think I'm gonna use Santa Fe with a little bit of Stromboli just to match the warmth of my self-tan. So I'm just gonna use a sponge to apply this. Yeah, I just have a hard time with NARS colors. I know a lot of people seem to have a hard time, but the coverage on this is a medium. You can build it. So this is the NARS foundation on. You can just see the color is just too dark for me, or it looks like it to me. I just feel like I have a hard time finding one that's not too pinky gray, but one that's also not too orange. So now I want to go in with the new KVD Beauty Good Apple Lightweight Full Coverage Concealer. I picked up the shade Light 114. I have such a hard time trying to pick out shades. I feel like the swatches on some of these products are just really hard to figure out what shade's gonna work for me. So this is supposed to be hydrating, long wearing, full coverage with a natural finish. I know that the Good Apple foundation went crazy viral on TikTok. So here's the packaging. I'm a little bit late to this. I also have the new LYS concealer, which I thought about using today, but I'll use that in my next trying new makeup. And then it does have an interesting little doe foot. So I'm just gonna use, yeah, this shade looks light compared to the foundation, but we're gonna make it work here. Formula feels pretty thin in texture, like not heavy. And the doe foot is quite small and easy to, you know, get in there. So let's go ahead and start blending this out. I haven't watched a ton of reviews recently just because I've been just really busy with little man. And then I also went on vacation last week. So I had planned a vacation with my family, I want to say a year and a half ago. Of course, we thought by now that, you know, things would be a little bit more settled with the pandemic, but we had planned it a long time ago and we actually surprised Ian's family, well, his parents, with for Christmas to come with us. I kind of felt like I couldn't cancel. It kind of crossed my mind just because, you know, the puppy really, the timing and everything wasn't great. But my mom and her husband stayed at my house the entire week and watched Roscoe and Winnie. And I'm like crazy. I have cameras in my house and like on my back deck to see, you know, when anyone's on my back deck and, you know, their crates and cages and playpens. So I was watching and talking to my mom multiple times a day, like, how are they doing? You know, how's everything going? And of course we had an ice storm when we were gone. I was like worried about that, but everything is fine. And my mom and her husband took care of the little ones and we had a good time with Ian's parents and my dad and his wife and family friends. So we just went down to Treasure Island for 6 days. And I thought about vlogging, but then I was like, you know what? No, I just want to live in the moment and I really don't want, you know, my family doesn't want to be on camera. We just want to have a good time. So we were gone and that's kind of why I was absent and I just didn't make a post about it. I don't know why. I just kind of took a break and hung out with my family and it was nice. I hadn't traveled since 2018. But yeah, that's sort of the reason that I've been absent. The puppy, then the heart murmur thing, and then vacation. It's just kind of all happened at once, but I'm excited to get back into work. So this concealer's looking pretty good. I don't know if it oxidized a little bit. It looks a little bit darker now that I blended it out. I feel like the coverage is nice. I don't really feel like it's super hydrating, but it doesn't look dry to me either. I do feel like I need a powder that's gonna lighten things up because I just feel like I'm looking really, really like just too dark all over. But I feel like this looks nice. Thin formula, again, doesn't look too drying. I wanna see how it sets with powder. So I did pick up this new Translucent Air Set Radiant Loose Setting Powder from BabsBeauty. I wasn't gonna pick this up because I typically don't love radiant loose powders, but this had really good reviews, so I'm almost wondering if I should try my tried and true Huda Beauty on one side just to see how the concealer performs and how the Hourglass Vanish Primer smooths, and then maybe try this on the other side and just see. So let's start off with my Huda Beauty in Pound Cake, and I'm just going to set as I normally would. I gotta get the creases out here. So I'm just going to press this in. Okay, so this side is set with my Huda Beauty, and now I want to try the BabsBeauty. So this is a loose powder that has a radiant finish, fragrance-free, best for oily, combo, or normal skin. That's interesting. It doesn't say it's good for dry skin. It says a weightless, translucent powder made with an air cream technology that sets, smooths, and diffuses for a radiant finish. And it has 3 different shades. I picked up translucent for fair to light medium skin tones. They also have translucent medium and then translucent deep. Interesting, because translucent, I mean, I don't know. These are tinted. So packaging's really nice, very thin. And then inside you do have the little sifter that you can basically move to open up some of the powder. So this sifter is nice. I like it when I can just get my powder out and I don't have to like try hard. So I'm just gonna get some out in the cap here, and I'm just gonna use the same method. I wanna see if this accentuates anything. Okay, so I'm not really seeing a huge difference, but I am noticing it's sort of like clinging to my mustache, okay? I don't really have an issue with my mustache just because it's blonde, but when I look up close, I almost feel like, the powder's like stuck to my stash, which is not great. I feel like it's looking a little heavy down here on this side, just like right in here. And I feel like I'm seeing a shadow, which is weird because the powder doesn't seem too dark. I don't know, I'll have to watch my footage back. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of my Huda. Okay, so for blush and highlighter, I got this duo from Iconic London. This is the Silk Glow Duo in Rose Glow. There's 2 different colors. This one is more of a cool toned, like neutral. The other one's really warm. The highlighter swatch is a little bit dry to me. The blush I haven't tried yet, but I like the sort of baked gelée sort of feel of this. So I'm hoping this will be pretty. I mean, I'm a blush fanatic, so let's see. So there's a little bit of powder kick up when you pick the blush up. It's more of a dry formula, which isn't necessarily like a bad thing. I would say this is more buildable. Definitely has sort of a glow to it. So I'm going in on the other side. So it's pretty. It has almost like glitter in there, which I don't know if it's translating on the face though, which is good. Like I'm not seeing chunks of glitter, but definitely has that sort of glitter in the actual pan. And then I want to try out the highlighter, although I don't know if I'm gonna love it, especially with this cool toned eye look. So it's definitely a little bit powdery and dry, like I said. I mean, I think it's pretty, but it's not my favorite. I don't know. I'm not in love with that, I guess. This duo in general. All right, so before we finish off the lips, I think I'm just going to keep my eyes as is, but I want to take that really pretty icy white shade and put this on the inner corner. It's a little bit flaky. This is dry, by the way. You could probably just wet it if you wanted more intensity. Okay, and then for lips, I want to try out this Smashbox lip liner I purchased. This is the Be Legendary Line and Prime Pencil in medium brown. This is not new, but it's new to me. I'd never tried it. I want to see what this formula is like. All right, so I like the color of this. This is interesting. This formula feels a little bit almost like there's a silicone in it or like a soft powder feel, but I like it so far. I want to go in with this Shantakai Lip Chic. This was from the Giraffe collection as well in the color Jasmine. This is a glossy plumping lipstick. I don't know if I've tried this before, but here's the packaging. And I don't know if I've tried this formula is what I meant to say. So I'm going to swatch it. It's basically like a balm sort of situation. I'm gonna use a little bit more of my lip stain. I had to think about that for a second. I found these at Ulta from Undone Beauty. On one side they have a stain and on the other side they have like a lip liner stain, which I don't use it like that. This shade right here is Sun Red, and this is what I've been using. I just use it like this. For the longest time, the lip stain that I used, I couldn't link because it was discontinued. So that is my new go-to. I also have it in pink, but I tend to go for the red more. So let's go in with this lipstick. Does this have a scent? Oh, it smells kind of like vanilla. Pretty sheer. Nice and hydrating. It's a really pretty shade though. That's really beautiful. I think I am gonna go over it with a gloss just to see. This is the new glosses from NARS. They reformulated them, and this is in the shade Turkish Delight, which is like a light baby pink. Just like in the center here. Do these have a scent? I don't smell a scent on the NARS. Those glosses are pretty sheer too. You really didn't need the gloss, but I like that. That's really pretty. All right guys, so here's my finished makeup look trying a bunch of new products. I really like how it turned out. I want to start off with the Giraffe Eye Palette from Shantakai. I think you're really paying for the name, and I really like the shades in here. They do come off a little bit more cool toned on the eye, which is a little bit different than the typical warm tone palette. So I love the shades in here, and I really think the standout for me is the one on the lid. It's just a gorgeous sort of glittery silver taupe shade. I had a little bit of issue with the first matte, but I could have just applied way too much. It does come off quite pigmented on the eye and a little bit more cool toned, but I'm happy to have this. I think it's a beautiful little palette. Do I think you need to run out and get it? Probably not, but I enjoy it. I also am really enjoying the Hindash liner, very comparable to the KVD. So if you already have that, I mean, you don't need to run out and get this, but I like the packaging, and I like that the brush tip is very kind of firm. So it's not one of those that's slipping and sliding. It's not a super watery formula. I find it quite easy to get a wing. Not sure how I feel about this ColourPop mascara. It did sort of weigh my lashes down a little bit. It's very thick, so it's not a wet formula. It's not super clumpy. It's just very thick, almost like a sticky formula. Not sure how I feel about it. I'll have to keep trying it out, but I typically enjoy more of a volumizing mascara, so I'm not really surprised that this isn't wowing me. In terms of the Hourglass primer, I'm pleasantly surprised. I like the way it feels. It's not silicone feeling. It's almost like a light gel that goes into a soft matte. Interested to keep trying this. I feel like my pores look pretty nice, so I will be intrigued to see how that works with all of my favorite foundations. Also enjoying the new NARS foundation. I feel like the shades are a little bit off, but this mixed with the NARS, I feel like I'm not getting oily yet, although I do tend to get it in my chin couple hours in. So we'll have to see how that wears, but I'm just testing out the NARS in different scenarios. I feel like for me, mixing this with like the soft matte might be the perfect touch. Now, in terms of the KVD Beauty Concealer, I really liked it. I thought that it was a thin formula. It didn't feel heavy. I didn't notice that it was hydrating, but I also don't find it to be drying. Nice and smoothing. It set really well. Had a good, I would say, medium buildable coverage. Pretty happy with this, excited to keep giving it a try. Not sure how I feel about the Air Set powder from Say Beauty. It's supposed to be radiant, which I don't really see. I'll have to look back on my footage to see if this side of my face looks more radiant. I do, however, feel like it looks a little heavy around my mouth area and down here, almost like it clung a little bit. I'll have to keep trying it. It's a very thin formula. It's not one of those that's thick like the Laura Mercier. It's also not super, super fine, let's say like the Too Faced Peach. It's sort of somewhere in the middle. So I feel like this might be one that I would dust all over my face, but still go for my Huda Beauty in my T-zone. I feel like nothing can beat the Huda Beauty. In terms of the Iconic London Duo, I'm not wowed. I don't hate it, but I do feel like it's a little bit dry. The formula is a little bit dusty. Really don't like the highlighter. The blush is okay, but there is sort of specks of glitter in there, which isn't my favorite. I feel like it's an okay product, but again, I wouldn't go out and tell you to spend your money on it because Iconic London can be a little bit pricey. Really, really like this Shantakai lip product. It's just really nice and hydrating. I wish there was maybe a little bit more pigment, but overall, it's really, really comfortable on the lips. It smells nice. It's just one of those that is gonna give you hydration, but also give you a little bit of a tint. I think the NARS gloss is okay. It's nothing crazy. I mean, I feel like it just gave a little bit of a wash of color on the center of my lips, but I tend to prefer a little bit more pigmented glosses, or I tend to prefer a thicker formula. And the Smashbox liner I thought was okay. Again, not going to become like a holy grail for me, but really everything today was okay. There was nothing that I was like, ooh, like I really hate that. I liked most products, and then there was a couple standouts. So you guys will have to let me know down below what products stood out to you. If you like this look, have you picked up any of these products? I will link them all down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and just a little bit of an update, and then also trying some new makeup. I'm happy to get back to filming and doing what I love. So hopefully more videos coming your way. Thank you guys again so much for watching. If you're new here, I hope you'll stick around and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.